totally new format, totally different. So I've never gone live from my phone before, but I wanted to do a little life update, chat, breakfast with B kind of thing. So I'm going to see if I can see your comments when they start coming in. But if you're in here, say hello, say hi, say what's up, and then in a few minutes we will get started. I have a venti iced chocolate almond milk espresso with sugar-free vanilla syrup in here. It's great, super good. So I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. I know I've never gone live on a Saturday before, but I wanted to get out of the house, do a little live stream, and talk. So yeah, if you see the title, I quit my job. Hi, Christina. Christina said good day / night to you all. Hello. It is like 9:46 here. Not sure what time it is for you. Kona said, oh my goodness. Hey, B. There you guys are. Hi. It's like I'm on my phone, so your names are all tiny, so I'm like squinting in. Hi, Jade. Hi, Caitlin. Caitlin said, hi, BM. 10 weeks and 2 days today. The baby is healthy. Yay. Jade said it's been so long since I made one. Yeah, the schedule's a little bit sporadic, so my bad. Hi, Janie. Janie said, hi, sorry about the job. No, don't be sorry, because I want to get into it. I know this is like a different topic, but because I quit my job and I have a new job, like I quit once I secured employment. I have a different schedule, and it's super different. Hi, Olive Thunderbird. It's a super different schedule than I had before. And so in thinking about like live streams, I'm like, I could do like a little breakfast with B segment every now and then where we just chat about like different life topics. So if you're into that, that's what this is going to be. So Jade said, good for you. Gonna do some chores and listen. Yeah. So quit my job. Basically, I just kind of felt like I wanted to talk about it because I feel like very often we'll be in something and it's not the best, but it could be worse. And like, it's hard to wrestle with that, like when it's time to walk away from that thing, or, oh, well, like I shouldn't complain because it's been worse, or I could have it worse. But at the same time, knowing that like there could be something better for you out there. And it's hard to come to terms with that and come to like reckon with yourself when it comes to that, especially, if you have kids or if you have a partner who's like dependent upon you and you guys split bills or family things that you're like helping provide for. It's really hard to say like, well, I'm comfortable here, even if it's not great. And it's hard to make that move. And so for the past few months, I've just kind of been wrestling with it. You guys didn't know like my exact job, but I worked on like the financial side of pretty big business, and things were just chaotic. Obviously, COVID happened. We had to go to working from home. Like it's a whole thing. Kaya said, I feel like you are just glowing lately. You are looking fabulous. Thank you. And Nicole said, I've never made a live before. Can't wait. Congrats to you. Thank you. Mary said, OMG, normally never catch lives because I live in Finland. So far away. That's so wild. But yeah, it's definitely a different time than I usually do it. And so obviously things were chaotic. Like we had a lot of people on the team leave, and we weren't able to rehire and like fill those positions. And so things kept getting kind of like stacked and stacked and stacked. And throughout that whole time, I'm like, just put your head down, like handle it. You got this. And then one of the people who I was like closest with on my team left a few months ago, and I got a bunch more stacked on, and the entire time I'm like sitting here justifying it because I'm like, you're comfortable here, like they're so accommodating with everything that's had to happen with the kids, like just do it, just handle it, boss up. And then another team member who I'm really close with was like, hey, just so you know, I put my 2 weeks in. And I was like, okay, like this is gonna be it, because this is it, like this is gonna be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And luckily enough, that person who left, they also like the company that they went to was also hiring for the exact same position that they got hired for. And so I emailed HR over there and I was just like, hey, I know you hired this person. I just wanted to introduce myself. Here's my qualifications. If you're interested, please let me know. And they called, and within a week I got hired. And it's like, it was so, not scary, but if you've ever left a job where it wasn't like the worst thing in the world, because my team was great, my supervisor was incredible, like there were so many good things about that job, but it was like when we went to California, I was driving home on a Sunday, or no, it was Saturday. I was driving home Saturday, and like I had to hold back tears because I'm thinking about, okay, here's all these things I'm gonna have to do Monday when I go in, like here's all these things I have to get ready for, like in my head, driving home from vacation, holding back tears because it was so much work. And we shouldn't have to do that. Like, people should not have to be sitting there thinking about those things when they're on vacation or when they're coming home from vacation. Like, nothing is worth your mental peace. And there's always gonna be something else better, but it's scary. It's scary to do that. And so when I got offered the job and I accepted it, I like agonized over it because I knew I was gonna be putting my team in not the greatest position, and I don't like doing that. I was just stressing so hard about sending in my 2 weeks, but ultimately it ended up being okay. And then you have that thing of like graduation goggles where you've wanted to move on or you've been thinking about moving on and doing something, and then you're finally doing that thing and leaving, and you're like, well, it's not that bad, like I could make it work, I could keep doing it, but ultimately it's for the best. All of Thunderbird said, so glad you made the decision that was best for you. Thank you. Yeah, so new job is also on the financial side of a different company, and the hours are different, the pay is better, like the schedule's gonna be so much better for the kids. And so it's like it checked all of those things of like, if I'm leaving this job, if I'm going to walk away from something that is so comfortable, I need to have these other things. And so it fit it. But I want to know, like, have you guys ever felt that where, because back to the point about like a toxic work environment, it wasn't a toxic work environment. Like, there were good things there, but I don't know if it was like the timing was off, or I mean, it's a culmination of all these things. Like, I could do that job if I didn't have the kids, or I could stay with those hours if no, I mean, the hours were not ideal, but whatever. It's like, you know, I could handle the stress if I wasn't dealing with the kids, or I could handle with being short-staffed if I wasn't also trying to do YouTube stuff on the side. And so it's just like that timing, just in a different situation, I could have worked through it, but we're not in that situation. We're in the situation that we're in now. And so I gotta move on and try something else. And it's hard when there are good things. It's hard to leave that thing that you know isn't making you happy, but like, is it the worst? It could be worse. Oh gosh, I can't like, I want to see what you guys are saying. I don't know how to get back to your comments. I have to figure that out. Oh, maybe if I press this, I can see them still. I want to see the live chat. There we go. Janie said, be Haney, the timing thing will make or break anything you're doing unless it's your passion. Oh, for sure. Cheryl said, I finally made your live. Welcome. Usually I see the replay. Melissa said, did you lose weight, girl? You're looking great. Thank you. Yeah, since like February, March, I've been like working on health. So thank you. KS said, the pandemic forced some changes for me that ended up being good changes that I probably wouldn't have made otherwise. Blessing in disguise sometimes. Yeah. Courtney said, it's easy to convince yourself to stay, but hard to leave even when you know it's right. Congrats on finally leaving. Gotta do what feels right for you. It is. So with like, it's easy to convince yourself to stay, but hard to leave even when you know it's right. Because it is. Because it's like, well, I'm already in this thing. And so I feel like mentally sometimes we have that fear of like, well, what if it's worse? Like, what if I make the change and it's worse? Or I go somewhere and I hate it. Or I go somewhere and I like don't make it past 30, 60, 90 days, whatever that probation period is? What if it's completely unexpected? So you know those things are not right and they're not what you want. Like what you're in isn't the best fit, but it's so easy to mentally just be like, well, I could convince myself to stay. Like I could talk myself into staying here. Chantal said, congrats, B. Thank you. JD said, we just went back into lockdown and I've been stress eating, but somehow I haven't been gaining weight. Stress eating is for real. Like, that's a real thing. Nicole said, the pandemic changed my job slightly too. I realized I had to stand up for myself and show that I'm not a pushover. It's been 3 years and it was terrifying, but it worked. That's so scary. Like, I don't know what your exact personality is, but for me, I don't like complaining. Like, I don't like doing it. I don't like being the one that's like causing a problem or the squeaky wheel or anything. And so even when people were leaving and I was getting handed more stuff and more stuff and more stuff, my supervisor was like, I know it's a lot. Like, I'm sorry. I know it's a lot. Let me know if you need anything, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it is a lot, but I got it. Like, I can do it. I can do it. And it's like, at the end of the day, what would have happened if I said, no, I'm not taking that on? People would have been disappointed. They would have had to have made somebody else do it. Like, would I have gotten fired for saying no to one thing after working at the same job for 2.5 years and like literally never getting in trouble and never causing an issue? No. It's so scary to but I just don't like when people are like mad at me or frustrated, and so it's hard to work yourself into that of saying like, well, no, I'm not going to be a pushover. Like, this is my job. This is what it says I'm supposed to do. Here's the job functions that I have, and if you're only going to give me 40 hours a week to do it, I can't take something else. Like, ooh. Let's see. Jay said, I have a friend who made that big move and it didn't work. He lost a lot of money moving to another state, but when he came back, he was still glad it happened. Oh gosh. He was still glad it happened because he found what makes him happy. Yeah, that's so scary that he went to a completely different state. That's a big move, but ultimately, like, he found something good about it. He learned a lesson, and it's an experience. Courtney said, I was there for 3 years, and it was so stressful thinking about doing something else because I felt I was so good at that job and liked my employees, but not my bosses. That is hard, especially when you're, like, good at something. You're like, I know I can do this. Like, I'm good at this. So changing it is just a fear thing. Olive said, I lost my job due to COVID and in the middle of closing on our first house. I managed to find a job doing something totally different. I am making more money and I am really enjoying it. I mean, I'm so sorry that you lost your job, but it's incredible. Like, it's such a scary time too. But something good came out of it. That's awesome. That's so incredible. Nicole said, oh, I hate complaining, but she keeps pushing me and has for 3 years. I needed to stand up, even though she's made it clear I was inconveniencing everyone. She's a not so subtle master of guilt trips. Ugh. I hate those guilt trips. That's tough. But yeah, it's good. Like, Olive Thunderbird, that you found a new job, you're making more money, you're enjoying it. It's scary because uncertainty can bring like really great things, or it can bring really like terrible things. It can bring things that are even worse. But if you don't go for that thing, or in this case, if you're not forced into having to go for it, you might never know. I've talked about this book before, but it's The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and it talks about how we have this internal thermostat that gets used to something, and when things might be like when we're wanting to make a change to a more positive thing, your body isn't used to that change. So even though it's a good thing or it's an exciting thing, your body's gonna be like, whoa, 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 we're not used to that. Like, let's bring it down. Let's like, you know, let's do something to halt this progress, because what if it got worse? What if this bad thing happens? You know, we're okay right now. So let's just keep that internal temperature right here. And it's like a mental game, basically. It's like your ego trying to protect you from getting hurt and protect you from uncertainty, but you got to break through that ego in order to find something better. And so this new job, like I said, it's still financial, but it's like a different role. And so I've never done this role before. I don't know how much I'll like it. The company seems great so far. Like, first week is down, it's in the books. Everything seems great, and who knows, maybe I'll be there for a year, 2 years, whatever, but at this point, it's good. And so it was really scary, and even on my last day at my last job, I was like, maybe I should just stay, because I was training people before I was leaving, and I'm like, they just don't have it yet. Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do that? They don't have this role. Like, they had supervisors learning the things that I was doing because that's how short-staffed we were. And I'm just like, oh, like, I want to stay. Like, I don't want them to fail. I want things to go smooth. And I'm like, just stop. They're a business. They will make it work. They will figure it out. Like, they will get whatever needs to be done. I'm gonna go back to a few of your comments. Oh, Jamie said, no boss is going to come up to you and offer more money or help. You have to ask for it. Yeah. Nicole said, you're so right. You have to break through that ego, but you'll do amazing. Thank you. Raskillen, let me know if I'm saying that right. 25 said, you are very wise and brave. I admire you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cheryl said, they will get it when push comes to shove. Maybe slower than you did, but it will happen. Yeah, and that's what, like, my husband and my coworker who is going to the new job with me said. They're like, they'll get it. They'll figure it out. They're a company. They'll manage. Andrea said, oh my God, I know who you remind me of, Chelsea Peretti from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's really funny. Because my best friend was like, you are, like, you remind me of Gina. You are Gina. And I'd never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine before. This was like 2 years ago. And I was like, oh yeah? And so I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, like, I guess I can kind of see that. And then this new job, the interview, like, I did my first interview and then my second was a panel. And one of the girls, I saw her, it was over video, and I'm like, oh my God, she looks like Chelsea Peretti. Like, forgetting completely that my friend had told me that. And I was like, that's so weird. She does kind of look like Chelsea Peretti. That's odd. And then on my first day, they were like, oh, you have a doppelganger, because ever since that second interview, people have not been able to stop talking about how much you look like, let's call her Katie. Like, people can't stop talking about how much you look like Katie. And I'm like, that's so funny, because I thought she looked like Chelsea Peretti, and I've been told I look like Chelsea Peretti, and we look alike, so I guess that tracks. I want to go back to your comments. Nicole said, it's not your job to fill your role. You're leaving to do what's best for you, and they'll figure it out. Yeah. That's, Marianne said, it's so hard when you know the individuals on your team are going to struggle, but ultimately that's the fault of the company for not hiring enough people and expecting too much of their employees. Yeah, because from a company aspect, I'm like, the company will figure it out. But I don't want to, like, I know how much of a burden it was when I got extra stuff, and so I'm like, I don't want to put anything on them, but you have to do what's best for you, which, like, I don't know, I don't like saying that, because I'm like, I don't know, I very much like to live in the mind space of kind of a collective of like, not like, oh, I'm always looking out for number one, like being a team and doing things that aren't gonna hurt other people and helping other people if you can. But at the end of the day, like, you do have to do what is best for you. And we were in a meeting at my old job talking about, like, return to office, and some people were talking about how they didn't like the plan and they didn't think it was a good one, blah, blah, blah. And one of the board members was like, well, look, here's the deal. Like, if you don't like it, you're the only person who can make a change for yourself. If you don't like this plan, if you don't like what the company is doing, you can find a new job. And I was sitting there, and it wasn't me complaining, so she wasn't talking to me, but I was like, okay, well, there you go. She said, you're the only one who can make that change for your life. You're the only one who can make that difference. If you don't like it, find a new job. So there we go. There's my sign. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to take a little bit to figure out new like regular live stream times. I know we were doing them some Fridays at like 4:30, but I will be at work at that time, so I'll have to figure out. I don't know how many of you are, I know a lot of you aren't in my time zone, but how many of you are up at like 6:30 Pacific time? All the Thunderbird said, wow, no wonder everyone is leaving. Yeah, and I don't think she meant it to come off that way, but I don't know, like, I don't think she meant it to come off as like, well, leave, but that's what she said, you know, if you don't like it, leave, like, you're the one who can make that change. And I'm like, fair enough. I mean, yeah, fair enough. If you don't like it, you're the one who can make that change for you. So, go back to my comments. Cheryl said, I'm in Europe, so I'm up at that time Pacific. Nicole said, I like doing this time Saturday. I'm off Saturdays, so I can join in. Janie said, that's a good sign to get right from the horse's mouth. Right. Andrea said, do a deep dive on her and Keemstar. Who? Oh, Trisha. That whole mess. I have so many thoughts, and I don't think I've talked about like the breakup of Frenemies or anything after that, but yeah, Cheryl basically said, like, as a manager, we've learned everyone is replaceable, so that person was speaking the truth. Yeah. But yeah, maybe we can do Saturdays. They'll probably have to be out of the house, because as the kids are getting older, like, they know each other's names, and they will like shout them at each other. And so if you can hear them in the background, again, at this point, like, I want to keep their names private, and, you know, maybe Rick would forget that I'm on a live stream and people don't know, and he might say their name, and so might have to be like Saturday car chats. But that's pretty much it. If there's any other topics you want to talk about, I was planning on being on for like 30 minutes, so if there's anything you want to chat about on this beautiful Saturday, let me know. I'm excited. We're going over to my parents' house in a little bit. We bought them like an early Christmas present. I don't know if y'all have, I think I confused the girl at Starbucks, because she asked like what I was doing today, and I said, oh, we're gonna go set up a smoker at my parents' house. And I don't know if like what she thought I meant, but she got like really uncomfortable, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if you've ever used one, but like they're awesome. And she was just like, and like just turned away. But we got them a Traeger, so we gave it to them, and Rick and the kids and I are gonna go over there and like set it up with them, and maybe make some armadillo eggs, or I don't know, corn on the cob, something. But that's what we're gonna do today. I'm excited. My dad's excited to have a new smoker, because he was like, we're gonna, like, after he opened it, my mom was like, oh my god, we were just talking about how we were gonna redo like the grilling area out back. So yeah, they deserve it. Courtney said, I'm sorry, did you say armadillo eggs? Yes, not like actual armadillo eggs. It's jalapenos stuffed with cream cheese, and in my case, non-dairy cream cheese, and then you wrap them in bacon. Oh wait, no, you wrap them in ground sausage, and then you wrap them in bacon, and then you can like cook them in the oven, or you can cook them on a smoker. She just said, so nonchalant, armadillo eggs. Sorry. That's just what we call them. I'm sure there's like a different name for them, but Courtney said, okay, good to know, much better than what my mind would do. Oh my gosh, no, we're gonna make, she probably thought you meant a hookah. All the Thunderbirds said she probably thought you meant a hookah. We got a smoker as a wedding gift, and my husband made the most delicious smoked chicken. I'm telling you, I didn't make, my husband made beer can chicken in the smoker, and I was like, this is the best chicken I have ever eaten in my life. Like, it was so good. And it does get you a little bit, because it's like when you smoke stuff, it turns like pink. And so it's a little bit odd when you're eating pink chicken, but you know it's like fully cooked. But seriously, so good. Ruscallion said, thank you for making time for your audience. Have a great day. Gotta go. I love chatting with you guys and hanging out with you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. But yeah, so I think I confused the barista. Her name was Esme, and I love that name so much because she was just like, So that's what we're doing. I hope you guys have a good one. Let me know, I guess, if you want to talk about Trisha, Ethan, Keemstar. At this point, like, the only thing that I really had to say about the breakup of Frenemies was I wish they would have gotten a contract. Like, that's all I can say is, yes, Ethan thought that, oh, we'll just see it and like we'll see how it goes, whatever, like we'll give it a shot. And I can understand how you would want to do that because you don't know Trisha that well, but you know enough about Trisha that it probably was a good idea to like set up some kind of preliminary contract where it's like, okay, we do 5 episodes, we see how it goes. If we decide to go forward, this is how it's going to get broken down. This is all the money, because then that takes away their ability to come back and be like, the 5% though, the 5%, the 5, like, if you have it in writing, it's like, you agreed to this is what we have, like, in a year we can renegotiate. I wish that had happened, because then there wouldn't have been as much for Trisha to be able to go off about. But the fact that they did go off like that and it was a problem, like, that's not surprising to me. That is Trisha. We've seen Trisha for the past 10 years. We know, like, they are going to get hung up on stuff like that, or they're going to be abrupt or like not emotional, but what's the word? Like, I don't know, they're gonna have times where they go off like that, or where you need to bring them back and be like, hey, come on, you know, I know that you're in vengeance mode right now, but let's just take a second, let's take a beat. And it would have mitigated, in my opinion, a lot of those problems if they had a contract. So it's like, this is what it is. And I don't know, the fact that Moses is still with Trisha, and how she just said reactive, maybe that's it. Like, I'm trying to think of the right word. Like, not unpredictable, but kind of like, it's a little bit, I don't know. But yeah, I wish they had a contract. I'm sad that they are still going back and forth, and that like Moses and Trisha apparently recorded Ethan and Hila secretly. I think that that's really shady and really down low, and it's one of those things where I think Trisha came from a really rough spot at, like, childhood wise, and I want to see them do well, and I want to see them improve and like live a good life. But like, I want to see them win. I want everybody to win, but you can't keep supporting stuff like that. And so it's disappointing to see them make like that teeny little bit of progress and getting a little bit better. And like, when they got really close with Ethan and they were talking about how they're best friends and like they make each other better and all this stuff, I'm like, that's great. That's so cool that, you know, they're learning and growing and getting better, and I'm happy for them. But it's like, every time they do that little bit, that little move forward, they pull themselves back. Janie said, they're a raging hypocrite, but I also think they're afraid of Keemstar. I'd like to see Trish do better too. Yeah, and the fact that Trisha was going off about how inappropriate the relationship with Keemstar and his new girlfriend was, and was just like going off, and then went on the podcast and was seemingly very friendly, and it's like, well, I just like to have conversations. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but maybe we like chill out on accusations, or we approach things from a less reactive manner, and we don't like talk a big game when we're not in front of that person, and then when we get in front of them, they're like, oh, hi. So I don't know, that relationship is weird to me. I know people want to be like, oh, well, 20 is a consenting adult. Like, 20 is an adult. Why, I don't know, why are people so mad, blah, blah, blah. But there is a little bit of a power imbalance. If they met at a fan meetup, and sure, she wasn't a fan, but she was with a friend who was a fan, and she's 20 and a waitress, and he is like 38 and makes a ton of money. Yeah, she's 20. It's legal. It's not like he's doing anything illegal, but that doesn't mean that it's not complex. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be aware of those power dynamics and the roles that each of them play in that relationship. Because I remember being 20. I remember not having a really great sense of how, like, I should be treated in a relationship, or having, like, thoughts about the bigger picture of things. And so, like, y'all think about it. If you were 20, and not that there's anything wrong with being a waitress, but a waitress's take-home pay compared to Keemstar's take-home pay, you know? Like, you're working as a waitress, you're 20, you're dating a 38-year-old who's famous on the internet, who's a very controversial figure, who makes a ton of money. It would be very easy to be manipulated into either staying in a relationship that you didn't want to stay in, or doing things you didn't want to do. Like, if you gave her presents, it's just something to consider and something to talk about. So those are my thoughts on that. I am going to go ahead and we hit the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to dip out. Janie said, I had the worst self-esteem of my life when I was 20. Yeah, you're still, like, figuring yourself out, and your brain isn't even fully developed. Steve said, if people don't really know the story of Keem and his girlfriend, is it any of their business unless they have cause for concern? Speculation goes nowhere. Sure, the awareness of power dynamics comes in, but it is their business, not ours. If she has something to say about it publicly, then maybe it deserves more attention. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean, I don't know what their relationship looks like. If they're talking, like, they did talk about it. He's like, oh, she's 20, she's young, blah, blah, blah. And, like, they were talking about it publicly, how they met. And so it's like, I don't know how they are together. I don't know. Like, I get why people want to talk about it and why people think it's weird, because I think it's weird. But I'm also not going to make 50 TikToks talking about how much of a creep he is, even though I don't like Keemstar. So I think it's worth talking about, like, in a broader sense, and maybe not nitpicking their relationship. You know, not going in specifically on them, but saying, like, hey, like, this situation happened, they're dating, this is how they met, let's go ahead and expand on it, and on the topic of power dynamic and age differences and relationships and all that. It could be, like, a good starting point to jump into a bigger topic. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. Thank you so much for joining me for a little breakfast with B car chat, talking about switching jobs, doing what's best for you. If you are in a time of transition right now where you're starting something new, or looking for something new, or thinking about looking for something new, just know that you don't have to justify why you want something better. You don't have to convince yourself to stay in something that doesn't make you happy. Like, you deserve to do what you want. You deserve to be happy and to live a good life. And if letting somebody down is part of that, if, like, being afraid of people being mad or upset with you is something that is really weighing on you, it's okay. I felt it too, but you deserve to have the best. So I'm just going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching. If you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you've subscribed already, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Andrew said, talk soon. Can't wait to see you on the Brooklyn Nine-Nine finale. I'll be there. I'll be making a guest appearance, reprising my role. But yeah, please be kind to people. I will see you in the next one. Bye.